Scott, is everyone able
Sorry,
to see my screen? It
I had
should
just,
be just the display.
yeah, we can see you now. I had just muted myself when you were asking me that question. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, everyone, I'm actually today doing the webinar from beautiful North Lake Tahoe. I'm finishing up my vacation, but I wanted to spend some time with the customers and prospective customers and share things that are happening because we're just very excited. So as I said before, Trade Ideas is not a registered investment advisor, and this information is not construed as investment advice. So one of the big things that have happened recently is that when you subscribe to Trade Ideas now, Trade Ideas comes with charts. It's something that we've avoided for many, many years because you know, we just wanted to focus on the technology behind the analysis. But having been in the game for over a decade, we kind of believe that we're the best at it, and we now think that we can also add some of this innovation to the charting space, and we're going to show you what we're doing there. And again, for those that aren't Trade Ideas customers yet, I think it's such an incredible idea generation suite because you really do get everything. You get the analytics, the visual confirmation, and that puts you on a path to the shortest distance between an idea and actually placing a trade. That's the path to being successful. If you spend a lot of time vacillating over whether you should get into something or not, then that already is the problem. And that's one of the things we try to tell people, that the most successful traders, the most successful investors, they commit capital quickly. And that doesn't mean it's done foolishly. It just means that once they realize what they want to do, they don't have any fear, and there is no other extra chart or extra trend line or pitchfork or Fibonacci number that you need to see to be able to make the decision and move to managing the risk. And again, we're going to talk about the Trade Ideas Trade of the Week. So whenever we do these webinars, we like to showcase for people who aren't aware that we are recognized as the best in the class in terms of idea generation, and we recently won this award at the Benzinga FinTech Awards. So this is just something for you to be aware of, that after being in the game a very long time, the industry is really starting to recognize what it is that we're doing. So this is the agenda, and I always like to speak less, you know, formally and more kind of freestyle, because I'm an expert at this, and it's not difficult for me to do what I do at these presentations. I love the product. I love engaging with the customers. And what I want to do now is I'm going to minimize the presentation screen and get you visible the Trade Ideas Trade of the Week webinar template. So some of you already have this, but I specifically am going to show a couple of different things today. So let me move this down. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to describe, you know, what it is, how is our AI saying, okay, well, this stock is the trade of the week and this stock isn't. First of all, everyone should be aware that the trade of the week stocks themselves are not considered by us to be the best of all possible candidates. And the reason is we give them out for free as a sampling of our technology. We believe that they have all the statistics behind it to be profitable, but it's not the best of the best. And the reason, again, that we keep the best of the best to our customers is because that's where the real you know, separation comes in. And what I want to showcase, first of all, is the footprint that led to the Trade Ideas Trade of the Week, how it happened. And it was ASPN, and it came out on Monday, I believe. Yeah, on Monday we sent it out. Today is Wednesday. So the key here is to remember that the Trade of the Week algorithm is specifically a longer term type of pattern. So what that means is that you have to kind of take a little bit of a look at different time frames to really understand what it is we're trying to do. And this is also a good way for me to show you the charting as we have done it. So I'm going to first put this on the 15-minute time frame, okay? And you can see that ASPN really started to go on the 17th, and as it was going, this was the really big candle right here. It was the one that kind of put the shape into it even more so than this one, which was a little bit earlier. So this candle created an environment where the stock was trading 6 times its normal daily volume. And although the stock does not trade that much, that's okay, because there's a lot of misconceptions about volume, and one of the things we want to make sure you guys understand is that for traders and investors who are self-directed individuals, that's you guys, the guys that are putting your own capital at risk. This whole notion of you needing to have a stock that trades, 1 million or 5 million or 500,000 shares even is completely ridiculous, because alpha does not get distributed that way. The big stocks, yes, if you plan on, trying to trade a stock for 5 cents this way and that way, you can stick to Bank of America and Ford, and, you're going to have a very small spread. But those stocks don't move, and that's not what we're here to do. We're here to show you that alpha is out there, and even in the choppiest markets, which is kind of like what we've had. And those markets are ones where statistics are more difficult to come by. There's still incredible opportunity. So first of all, ASPN, I'm going to bring this longer term chart. Forgive my overlays here. We're still, again, the charts are relatively new, and there's some things that we're still fixing. So this was part of the picture that I had sent out, or let me see something, maybe, okay. This is part of the picture that I had sent out when we first reported, and I specifically pointed to this candle, and you can kind of see that this stock, had come down from 10 a year ago, roughly speaking, and it's been trading down, 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 and it's kind of built this bottom in the 6s. Okay, so and this bottom has lasted, approximately 3 months now, and then all of a sudden, on Monday, it really started to take off, and this is where it is right now. What this is this is an opportunity that if this really catches on again, what you're going to have is a potential to get back to these high levels, and that's what we're kind of talking about. We're trying to put our customers in a position where there's an opportunity to make 50%, 40%. 100%, 150%. This is what we're looking to find versus, the 15 and the 10, which are okay percentages as well. But to really set yourself apart, where you can not only, say you invest, but also potentially use the income as partial income, a discretionary income that you use on things you love to do, like vacation and other things that are, again, that are meaningful to you. It's these kind of opportunities. So what the algorithm here is doing is it's trying to find a base, and bases, again, are a combination of volume and range, and so our algorithm outlined this area as a base, okay? And then when this move took over on this volume, this is what lets us know that somebody was not messing around with their notion and their hunch that something was happening to the stock. So that is why ASPN was our Trade Ideas Trade of the Week. And I'm going to show you again where the window that caught this algorithm. But right as I'm showing this, there's another part that, let's take a look at what we had today on the same window. Okay, so this is why, again, we are all in this business. Look at CLTX, Celsius Therapeutics. Okay, this is a stock that, again, started the day, and these are 15-minute bars. Let's put it on the 5, so you can kind of see that there was opportunity to get into it. It wasn't just that, it instantly gapped up, but this is exactly the kind of stock situation that we are looking to find, where all of a sudden, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, bars that still, in retrospect, when they pulled back, you know, we're not that overbought. This is the kind of opportunity that exists in the market, and this is the kind of opportunity that we are constantly hunting for in the Trade Ideas Trade of the Week algorithm setup, which is basically this, the bottom-forming AI pattern recognition. Now, some of you already have this window, but what I want to do is I want to show you how we work around the window filters to find different variations on this theme, which then we export into optimized strategies and all other things that our customers are doing. So again, because many of you are already customers of Trade Ideas, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the settings. But for those that aren't, what I want to make sure you understand that all the we've completely changed our course in terms of what we believe is important for the end user. And we used to kind of be of this mindset that we got primarily from being in the industry for a very long time and seeing what people were doing with TradeStation and Metastock and other platforms, and we thought, okay, we're going to give them the best tools and then people are going to build it. And that did happen, but what we realized is that we did not want to force people to know how to set up our software. What we wanted to do is give you the computer that's showing you all the stuff and you understanding the reason, and then giving you the ability to quickly allocate capital. So let's talk real quick about this trade. You know, one of the things that I want to make sure everybody here understands, first of all, notice again the synchronization of the scroll. Let me see, I want to make sure that I have it set. So as I'm moving this, let me see, right click, let's see here, crosshair sync, and crosshair sync, yes. So when I'm moving around, and again, my versions always change. Whenever I'm doing this, this thing should update also. And it's kind of doing it, but see, it may be because I have 3 charts up at the same time. And it's normally used to doing that with 2. And that's something that we'll check. But you can kind of see that as this stock was going up, a lot of investors with the notions that they've been taught would right away say, oh my God, I've missed it, this thing has gone too high. You know, all this fear starts, you know, self-doubt starts coming into you. But what we're trying to show you is that there's been so many examples where you need to not have the fear. What you need to understand is if you rely on your risk management skills and ability to understand that, you know, you don't have to right away put all of your eggs in one basket and get into a position like this where you say, okay, hey, I'm going to buy 10,000 shares and hope for the best. That's not how you do it. You can step into it. You can get into 100 here, 100 here, 100 here, and when it pulls back and starts to go here, 100 here again, and then if it breaks above it, that's when you know you're into something good. And then you could have taken profits at the top. I mean, again, I'm not saying that these stocks make it easy for you, you know, because that's the whole point. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But the idea is that you do need to be exposed to these types of moves. And they happen. And they're happening in stocks that most people aren't watching. So let's talk about one of the things of that makes a stock like this go. So look at the float. Okay, the float is how many shares out there that all of us have access to trading. Okay, and when a company has what I would call here is a micro float. Okay, there's not that many shares, and when somebody wants them, someone has to basically go out there and get them and be sold. Look at the volume today. So basically today, okay, the whole float of the company was changed over 5 times. Okay, incredible opportunity. Incredible opportunity, and it's these 2 things together. Here, I'll put this right here, that really make this stock stand out. You know, the fact that you've got a 4 million share float and it's traded 20 million shares, this is the one that, let's say, okay, you know, you ask yourself, well, what value did I get from Trade Ideas today? I will tell you, watch this stock tomorrow and the next day and the next day. It's like some of the big popular stocks that, you have that one AQPX that's gone from 10 to like 50 in 3 days. And the idea here is not to necessarily focus on, well, the fundamental story, because you don't have to worry about all of that. A lot of times they say, the fundamentals tell you a lot about the company, but the price tells you a lot about the stock. And that's what's happening. Somebody is making a very big bet here, okay? And this bet is being placed on the bullish side. I'm not saying, again, that this is something that I would be buying necessarily at this moment, but what I'm saying is that Trade Ideas and Trade Ideas customers had this thing early today and worked all over it, okay? And I've had feedback from people. I mean, this is the type of stuff that we are the best at. This is what you should be looking at, because when you're not focused on things that move, your opportunity cost is very high, okay? So let's look at a couple of other names that are coming up on this list, because that's the other thing. For the people that aren't here, I want to give you a reason to subscribe to be able to get access to this kind of information. For the people that are here, I'm going to show you a little bit more of what I've been doing to kind of dial this in more and show you how you can do some other very interesting things with it. So here's another one, okay? Let's look at the volume today. Okay, only 113,000. You can say, oh my gosh, that's very little. Yes, it's very, very little, okay? But for somebody who's trading 300 shares in and out, or even 1,000 shares in and out, it's no big deal, okay? So even this type of information can be very useful. Do not discriminate against stocks that trade small amounts of volume. Now look at this, okay, and this is the interesting part. So this stock went up from 132 to almost $4, or even higher. Okay, yeah, I believe it was, let me get it right up to the top, yeah, just at $3.90, and then pulled all the way back to 223, so incredibly volatile. But look, it's the same formula. The only reason why it didn't go through is because the bet that was being made on the bullishness of this stock was much lower, much, much, much lower, 100 times lower. But the float combination is similar, okay? Now let's look at a slightly different situation, okay? And notice the patterns are all kind of the same. This is, again, because this is our bottom forming AI pattern recognition, and this is what you want to be having, kind of this awareness, right? Here's a stock that you don't need to even get into necessarily until it gets above 250 on high volume, but if it does, right? There's no stop between 250 and $6. I mean, you're talking about 100%. Okay, so take a note of this symbol, MEI. Notice a couple of other things. It's in the right space. The pharmaceutical space, stocks are the ones that are going. It's got this basing that's been happening. Okay, this is a big gap down, so something bad happened. I mean, I'm not a fundamental analyst, so I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm assuming either something in the pipeline failed or bad earnings, one of the two. But here, again, what you're showing is like stability, and now this almost looks like a heartbeat. That's what I call it. Notice how you have to really see the forest through the trees, so I'm kind of showing you this big perspective. So this is a longer term chart that's going back to May of 2014, right? This one's just going back a couple of months to May of this year. And this is today. It finished on highs, basically. So that's something that we definitely need to keep an eye on. The only thing that I would say that is the big differentiating factor is, well, look at the float. Although it's still a very small float, less than 100 million is considered a small float. It's 30 million. So you're going to have to move this stock, you're going to have to need a lot more volume. And guess what? Well, it trades a lot more volume. And here's something that, then again, I don't simply look at technical data points. To me, data points are data points, whether they're fundamental or technical. They're just a piece of the equation puzzle. Always like to see a pharmaceutical company with $70 million in cash. That means that most likely they're not going out of business very quick. Okay, so now let's compare this to AU, which is also, you know, gold has been getting annihilated, right? And I mean, and everyone should know this. This stock, though, has a $340 million share float and 6 million shares traded today. It's something interesting to look at because, again, it's a gold miner. The sector has been beaten down quite a bit, and whenever, you know, something like this happens, it pops on our radar. And notice again that we are totally, you know, industry agnostic. We're looking at the kind of like the facts. Well, what's happening? Which things are looking like they're trying to bottom? And so again, what you look at on the AU part, and I'm kind of speaking for the AI because, well, we kind of programmed it to learn some things, right? So we like where it's closing at the top of the range, and look at this volume at the very end on this 5-minute bar was the highest volume bar of the whole day. That means that the people that were here attracted more people even here. Okay, so unlike the other stock that we were looking at, it was at, you know, let me just make sure I got the right one now. I think it was this one, right? Where there was that big sell-off right as it hit high. Somebody's like, no, 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 and then it just kind of stabilized. Okay, so the day didn't look great at the end. The beginning was amazing. The daily still looks pretty good, but, you know, it would be a much different picture if it closed right over here, you know, above this whole range. So the whole point that I'm trying to showcase is that this is kind of the building blocks of understanding what kind of methodology that Trade Idea is using to create this trade of the week type algorithm. Now, imagine this. There's almost unlimited kinds of strategies that you can create like this. So, for example, and here's something that I'm going to show because, again, so many people here are already subscribers. So let's go to configure and let's just play with this concept. So I'm in the configuration tab, and the way I play with the concept is I use the Windows specific filters. So these filters are allow me to kind of look at this paradigm, this bottoming paradigm, to really see what it is that I want to see. So one of the things, notice what I'm doing here. So I say that the position in the 20-day range position is at 95. What this means is, well, it's almost on 20-day highs, but in terms of the position in year range, is between, it's above lows, because we don't want something on lows, but it has to be at least in the lower 5% and all the way up to the 55th percentile. So then what I can do is I can start to experiment. You know, here I went from 0.7, so I can actually erase all of this and then add another 0, right, to really expand the universe. And I can also say that, hey, it doesn't have to be at 95%. What if it's at 85%? This is, and the volume today we have at, let's see, 30,000. I can say, well, let's say 100,000. Okay, and notice again, I'm painting a very specific picture. So for me to see this and call it some sort of bottoming action, it's got to be up something today, because that's the signal that something's actually bottoming. So I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to say bottoming forming for webinar example. I'm going to hit OK. Where did you go? Let me do that one more time. I might have not changed anything. Okay, 100,000. 3, relative volume is 2. Okay, so this is the other thing. Maybe that I should have showcased that. The relative volume of 2 lets me know that today something unusual is happening. So, okay, summary. Let me just put a space here. Hit OK. Nope. One of the benefits of doing webinars from a remote location where you don't have your stuff is some of this. And again, I've been downloading brand new versions all day today. So let me see if I can do a quick modification for you. So first of all, I'm going to close this window. I'm going to show you guys something that everyone can do. So I'm going to go to File, and remember, I'm in Tahoe, but we have a cloud, so I can go to Load from Cloud, and I can go to these windows. So I'm going to load my bottom forming AI pattern recognition window. And the windows blink. Okay, so what that tells me is something's going on with this specific version that I have. Let me try one more thing, everyone, okay? Bear with me for 2 seconds. New top list. Okay, gainers. And load. Okay. Well, you know, it's the beauty of real-time presenting, right? Golf clap to everyone. It's amazing that I actually had the windows up that I had up, considering that I have literally no windows coming through with data right now. I am always on a development version of Trade Ideas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this down. Don't want to save it. And I'm going to restart it from scratch. Typically, that always fixes everything. Ta-da! I hope. Okay, so now I'm going to go to File, Load from Cloud. And again, what you're seeing me do here is something that everybody has to do from time to time. It's just stuff that happens. And partly it's a combination. It could be my version. It could be the fact that, you know, the internet that I'm using is not, you know, the best because I'm not at home at my office. So I'm going to load this and let's see. Okay, here we go. So now the only difference is, guys, you can see I have some background information. So I'm going to close these windows. We can always come back to them. Okay, so this is a window that's much like the window that a lot of you already have. It's what I called my latest unfiltered version. I'm rearranging the columns so you can see everything, and what I'm able to do then is, again, just sort and resort to see the different information. So here I'm sorting by the lowest float because notice that I had brought up this stock, the one that we had been discussing. Okay, and I'm going to actually link this. Yep. Okay. So I brought this one up because I said the float was very, very low. And when you have a very low float, if there's a lot of volume, there's big potential to really get going higher. But I'm going to go back to the configuration window, and I'm going to go to the configuration filters. I'm going to hide the unused, and I'm going to reset this up for everybody so that you can kind of see how we play around with it. So again, I'm going to not put a minimum. I'm going to put a maximum of 1,000. Okay, and here's how I paint the picture for the algorithm. I'm going to say, okay, and you had seen this. It's got to be off of the bottom, and you can decide how much off. You can say 10. That still makes sense. And here I have 45% as the maximum. And again, you can play around with this. You know, it's just a question of how you want to look at. This is a positioning year range, right? So when we're looking for the bottom, if something's at the 65th percentile, well, you've already kind of missed that part of the move. So that's why I kind of keep it 40. Position in 20-day range. I was just saying that you don't have, you have flexibility, and you can play around with, well, what would 80% look like? And we're going to find out in a second if everything keeps updating. Okay. The volume today had to have been 100,000 shares. It needed to have been up at least 2% today, and it traded 2 times normal volume. Okay. So I'm going to say summary, and for webinar. Let's hope for the best. Again, no promises, right? Okay, it worked. So notice that I believe we had this one, I think, also, right? Okay, we didn't. But let's discuss this one again. It's another perfect example of a stock that really is showcasing some bottoming behavior. Okay, so just by simply adjusting some of these filters, you kind of get these different sets of data points. Now, notice how on this one, and I'll tell you why the AI did not bring this one up, is because this one has had kind of a couple of failures. And again, I've kind of, now that this comes through, I've seen what it's done before, and I recall this. Okay, so see this green candle? It looked amazing on this day with incredible volume, but then it faded. Okay, it tried again, but faded. Then it had another one, and then another one, and this one is very similar to this one, but it's just, again, it's not yet at this range. And of course, you could have maybe tried to play this for a day trade, and that would have been possible. But this one, I would say, just simply hasn't met the criteria. It needs to kind of get above this level right here to really get the bullish flow going, and that's where this float really starts to pay off. Okay, so you can see how I can kind of change this thesis. And by the way, something else I want to make sure everyone knows, as we always do on these webinars, all of the windows that I'm doing and all the adjustments, I will have them available for anybody who asks, who is our customer. These will be ready for them. Okay, so I want to show you something else real quick too. So remember, we're looking here for the bottoms. Okay, but one of the really cool things about trade ideas, and this is especially whether you're a customer or not a customer, is that we have a lot of automation built in and just getting the ideas too. So if we can find the bottoms like this, are there similar looking tops? So to do that, you don't have to do anything but press one button called flip. And flip is just the way we say inverse, you know? So it says flip, bottom forming for webinar. I hit OK. And interestingly enough, and probably not that surprisingly, there are a lot more stocks that are behaving like what we call topping action. Okay, so look at this. Okay, notice how the stock was kind of at high levels and then topping action. Here's another one. All of them will be very similar. They look like they're possibly breaking down. So that's the other very important thing to understand, is that customers at Trade Ideas, we trade both. You know, there's no, and notice again, when I zoom out, this is why we're talking about, you know, the top formation, just like the bottom formation. Okay, except the thing is that all you have to do is simply, you know, press one button and flip. And notice again that here's the philosophy that just embodies everything that we do. We don't discriminate against fundamental data as a data point for price action, because we know that many fund managers only use fundamental data points, right? So you can kind of say, well, NVRO, okay, their navigation and all this stuff. Again, I'm not an expert on any of their businesses, but here's what I do know, is unlike the rest of these guys that we're seeing here, they're losing money, okay, on a per share basis. So that means that this move could possibly, again, and I would have to create the strategy and test it with the odds maker, which again, something that we do. I would be able to see if negative earnings in this kind of move, you would kind of speculate that it could possibly lead to further declines. Of course, that is simply just an assumption based on the current behavior. That as opposed to, let's look at here. Okay, so Deere, on the other hand, has pulled back from the level of 97 to 91, right? But they still make money hand over fist. The only issue here is quarterly revenue growth. Okay, so that's where, again, with Trade Ideas, you can sort and resort this information, and you can really maybe find that alpha gen concept that makes sense on every single thing, right? So look at, again, American Eagle. This is just as an example. They've been getting annihilated. You know, this is a nasty, nasty chart. But remember the big picture. And by the way, you can see that this action is consistent with American Eagle. They're volatile throughout because, you know, they're kind of controversial to some extent, and you know, there's issues with what they're doing. But overall, you know, this retailer has, you know, if you kind of just look at it as a straight line, this is a straight line that kind of goes up, right? And here's the other thing. This is where, again, you can look at the fundamental data as a data point that really helps confirm the fact that, you know, if you can find a stabilization point here, this is most likely just yet another blip in the uptrend. They've got quarterly revenue growth, they're making money, and this looks like kind of like a nasty flush out, which is great if you know, that even Warren Buffett says, you know, the stock market is a mechanism that separates the patient from the not patient, right? That doesn't mean you need to hold on to everything, but it just means that you have these opportunities to get in when other people are bailing. And in this particular case, our technology helps you spot not only the price pattern, but the reasons that make sense logistically speaking. Okay. So again, tops, and you can do very similar stuff by taking where we start, and this has kind of been our philosophy from the beginning. You can start with where we are, and then you can kind of work your way around it, right? You can say, well, I want more information. Maybe there's something that that Dan can show me that is, you know, a broader swath of the data. For example, you can say maybe 90 is too close to the top, right? Maybe it's 70 and 55. If you're looking for real kind of negativity, right? Maybe again, in terms of where it is on the 20-day range, just a little bit more breadth. You put in 35, and you'll have more data. In terms of relative volume, change the 2 to 1.5. And instantly your list, you know, takes a different shape. And then again, you can sort and resort this list to find the basis for really having the kind of names that fit exactly what it is that you're trying to do. So for example, you know, let's talking about pullbacks. Right again, we got into Deere, which we said, you know, high earnings per share, and you know, they've been declining. Let's look at the stock real quick again. But could also be a, you know, when you're, this is what they call the inflection point. It's either gonna, if it breaks this support level, it's gonna drop further, which would be good if you're on the short side. But if it doesn't, you might see a very quick bounce back. Especially, remember guys, that you know, the market has declined somewhat over the last couple of weeks. There'd be a rebound, you could see this stock moving quite a bit higher. Okay, let's look at some of the others. Same thing. You know, notice how again this area here is a congestion area now, right? If it breaks below it, it's probably bad. But if it stays here and you see positive market action, this could be another name that goes. And again, you're seeing the red because all of these are down today. So it's down the most. You know, I believe we discussed this one, or it had come up. So WWW Group, Web.com. They today were just down the most and on pretty high volume. Look at this, a combination of negative quarterly revenue growth and losing money. And this is where they are. It doesn't look good. So again, if you're on the short side, this could be an interesting short candidate. Let's look at, okay, we have the earnings per share. So who's losing the most money? Okay, it's this guy right here. It's a pharmaceutical, but they're it's common for pharmaceutical companies to lose money. So here, I would totally say on the contrary. This is one of these ones that actually might be a very volatile name to run right back up to where it was before should the market turn a little bit. Look at, and here's why I'm saying that. You have a 6.8 million float, okay? So it wouldn't take that much for, if some news came out, it wouldn't take much at all to move it. And look at the volume today, 128,000, almost negligible. So one of the things that that we're going to do for people that are interested is we can also create a custom formula where you can basically take the float and divide it by volume today. So you can really see what kind of stocks really are the ones that you should be focused in. And those are the ones that are really trading, again, either as much as the float or close to the float or even more than the float, which is what we had on the bottom forming AI. So these are the things that we use internally. This is what I'm trying to showcase on this presentation, is that this is what data mining looks like. Instead of sitting there and writing formulas, I'm really just looking at colors and I'm looking at numbers, and I can quickly, see things from both point of views, the technical and the fundamental. Whether you're talking about stocks like MetLife or, Digimark, which again, $6.6 million float. Guys, what I want to do now is, since we've kind of talked a lot about this algorithm and how we've gone from one methodology, which was the bottom, to the top, what I want to do is I want to answer your questions to the best of my abilities and see if, let me see if I can pop this out. Okay. All right. So I'm ready. Type away. Okay, so Jay asked a question, how do you get the big picture long-term daily charts to display? Okay, so Jay, in our Trade Ideas software, again, these charts are ours and you get them in your subscription. So I click on the chart and I press the control button and I mouse scroll, right? So I can kind of zoom in, but then as I scroll the mouse wheel down, it goes all the way back. So it's a mouse scroll. That's how you do it. Okay. Okay, Lee, great question. So to trade the CLTX today, intraday, can you suggest an alert strategy? Yes. What I would have done, okay, well, first of all, there's a couple of things you can do that are super cool in terms of trade ideas in general. So you can take a top list and you can collaborate. Okay, you can take all the settings, copy those settings, then you can open up a new alert window. Okay, and you can just say, okay, so the window's open. Now, and I think I'm maybe having that same problem. Then I can go to collaborate and paste. So I'm gonna, let's see, get rid of what's in here. To make sure, and then paste what I had set up. Yeah, this pre-release version that I'm on is just acting up. But the idea is this. Yeah, Barry, by the way, I mean, this is a great point. So Barry Anderson, who is the leader of our trading floor, was all over CLTX today. And this is the other part of it, is that we're not just, wanting to leave you alone with the wolves of just the software. We have a full engaged community that's sharing ideas. And the CLTX, in my opinion, could have been done in a number of different ways. Number one, you could have set up the filters as I'm showing you from the top list window, copied them to an alert window, and created an alert window that shows you, for example, new highs, but only on 6 times normal volume, like relative volume of 6. Because look at, let's see here. Well, CLTX was something like 200 times relative volume, but even this guy, CHLN, the one from China, was 15 times relative volume. So the ones that really stand out really come across. So my way of doing it would be using a combination of relative volume and new highs tied to the bottom forming AI filter settings. And if you like, for next week's trading, I can create something like that for you. So does, Michael, does trade ideas show the short volume on the stock? Well, we follow short interest, and we follow whether that short interest is increasing or decreasing. So that's how we look at the short interest, and we actually are in the process of adding a lot of cool new data fields, and I'm pretty sure that the short volume is one of the things that we will be adding. But you can already do that, and what I'm worried about is if I try to do it right now, I'm going to have to restart again, so it kind of would be pointless. But the idea is then, look, there's a very simple methodology to these big runners. You want a stock that has a low float and is up on very high volume, because what that means is, hey, something's up and the float's turning over. They can't find shares to sell to people that would want to buy. So low float is actually a good, kind of tool to use to be able to spot these kind of moves. And I really encourage people to take advantage of that. Any other questions? I see Scott's been answering everybody really well. Scott, do you want to come in right now? Again, I kind of got into this groove, but I didn't even give you a chance to show the offers to everybody, but I think it's probably a good point since we're almost out of time.
Yeah, why don't you put it on slide 6, and then we're just kind of move forward from there.
Let me get that real quick.
Yeah, so the way pricing works with Trade Ideas is we have a standard subscription of $99 per month. There's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. That, of course, includes all the data. With the new version, that includes TI Pro charts. It includes an hour of training. Of course, access to the support forum, all of our support resources, and a trial of the backtesting software, the OddsMaker. We also have an annual plan that saves you quite a bit of money, and that's $888 per year. And of course, that includes everything that the monthly plan includes and saves you quite a bundle on a yearly basis compared to the monthly. The OddsMaker is a lifetime license. So once you purchase the OddsMaker, you have it for as often as you come or go with Trade Ideas. Lots of our subscribers have been with us for more than 4 years, and sometimes they will leave for a couple months in the summer and come back, and they always come back to have the OddsMaker. The OddsMaker also includes a free strategy, which is a $250 value. Another thing that we like to do to thank everyone for showing up at our meetings is offer a promotional code. If you can switch to slide 7 there, Dan. And I invite everyone to look in their GoToWebinar application that's running and look for a handouts panel. And if you click on the link inside the handouts panel, you can download a handout that has all the information about that code on it. And you use the code QAWeb19 on checkout, and it takes $50 off the first month, $150 off the first year, or $300 off the lifetime OddsMaker license. So you can get the OddsMaker for only $800 instead of $1,100, or you can try out the first month for only $49 instead of $99, for example. That code needs to be used before the end of the week, end of business on August 21st on Friday, is when that code will cease to work. And then something that we have for those of you that understand the real value of Trade Ideas is a great combination package. If you can go to slide 8 there, that is includes a full year of Trade Ideas, the lifetime OddsMaker, and a custom strategy. So the full year of Trade Ideas is valued at $888. The lifetime OddsMaker is $1,100, and we charge $250 for custom strategies. You can get that for only $1088. And that saves over $900 immediately. If you already have Trade Ideas and you're not on this kind of a program, you can go ahead and sign up for it and then just shoot us an email letting us know that you did it, and we'll check on your account and make sure that your other subscriptions are no longer active and you're just on that. And this Combo Saver package will renew at the annual rate. So you can get in at 1088 for this year, get the lifetime odds maker, and that's only it's only $200, $300 over the standard yearly package. So you want to go to the link bit.ly/save900, and that takes you to a page where you can click through and purchase that package as a combination. If you have any questions about this stuff, just email us at info@tradeideas.com. It's the best place to reach us. That goes directly into our help ticket software and gets routed to the appropriate Trade Ideas team member to help you out.
Scott, one of the things I wanted to just quickly touch base on, because I think it's just on this slide, and it's something I didn't really get into much on this presentation today, partly because, again, I'm not at my typical desk, and as you can see, I ran into a couple of technical problems. But where we are really going to completely change the game for all investors is with the AI channel that's coming out in its prototype mode on just after Labor Day. So this channel is basically a channel that's completely kind of like where the computer is telling you what it would be trading if it was managing your money only based on statistics. In other words, it's only using the best ideas that it can come up with based on all this number crunching that it's going to be doing every single day to get ready for the market. It's something that's not done anywhere, and we're going to be the first ones to bring this to market, and I think it's going to completely change how individual investors manage their money. But that's something else that you get with this package, and for everybody who is an OddsMaker subscriber, you already have access to this. It's just not out yet. But for those that aren't, that's the reason to get it, because this is a completely new way of trading. And this is the thing that we're the most excited about.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we offer the OddsMaker and year package, is really to encourage our subscribers to get into that. If you already have Trade Ideas, you're going to want to have the OddsMaker when the AI channel launches. And yeah, Dan's right about that. There should be a live link in that PDF you can download to just click on and go directly to the bit.ly/save900 URL. If you have any difficulties at all, just email us, info@trade-ideas.com. And then you want to follow us on Facebook. We're on Facebook at Trade Ideas Pro. We're on Twitter at Trade Ideas and Trade Ideas 1. You can reach Dan directly, dan@tradeideas.com. If you saw
I even answer those emails sometimes.
Sometimes, as often as you can. And if you saw any scans you're interested in today during this webinar or the Q&A webinar earlier, if you were also in that one, and you'd like a cloud link to those scans so you can try them out yourself, just email us, info@tradeideas.com, and either Marissa or Dan will send those off to you. I want to thank everyone for showing up today, and again, you will receive a link to the recording of this webinar and the combo package link and the promotional code to save you money if you want to just try us for a month or purchase the year or purchase the OddsMaker. All right, thanks everyone. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.